Hello, my dear folks. Welcome to the show, the East-West Show at EDI with the G&E TV. We're trying to cover all aspects of life, and especially for the last 2 weeks, or maybe 2.5 weeks, we have spent some time in the discussion about the Michael Brown death case. For the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 5 shows altogether, we put friends on the show, or even friends to debate on the show, to talk about it, to see what is really behind it, what is really in it, or even behind it. So today we want to make one more on top with my good friend, Mr. Drexel Smith of West Covina, a good commentator and a lover of life and huge supporter of life, Mr. Drexel Smith. We want to do another one. So Drexel, welcome to my show.
Always good to be with you, Jack.
I know. All right. Well, I feel the same way too. All right. And every time you're here, either we talk about strategy, right? And we talk about energy, right? And we talk about geopolitics or something like that. But today we want to focus on our own nation, right? So with the case, Michael Brown case, and there are previous cases, many of them, and there are cases after that cases. So what's your overall comment about that from happening?
Well, I think, Jack, I'll make some comments today from the perspective of having been on the Walnut City Council for many years. As you know, I served 12 years on the city council and mayor. And from that perspective, we hired and were responsible for the law enforcement in our community. We contracted with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for the law enforcement in our city.
All right.
We had a very nice middle-class America small city. And trouble would be when one of our high school kids misbehaved on his bicycle as opposed to serious crime.
All right, yes.
And sometimes the sheriff would have somebody that had just come out of running the jail system. And it was always a challenge to make the transition from the sheriff living his life with some bad people to all of a sudden policing in a more calm atmosphere. So like many of the issues that we have talked about on your show, I see the issue of community policing a challenging one. Because on one hand,
all right,
you're trying to keep law and order. And the vast majority of people support law enforcement. Law enforcement does a good job.
Yeah, of course.
Men and women do a good job.
Yeah.
They have respect, and they truly are dealing with a relatively small percentage of people that are criminals. On the other hand, we have a growing number of people in our society that are really struggling. They don't have the education, they're not part of the workforce, they're not enjoying middle-class opportunities, and they're struggling. They don't have a good future. So they're resulting to mischief, they're resulting to doing stupid things, where law enforcement now has a challenge of how do they deal with that? So From one perspective, Jack, I think the vast majority of our police throughout the country do a very good job. Has there been cases where law enforcement has been overbearing, where we saw on the TV recently where a California Highway Patrol big man was beating on an elderly
left,
woman.
right, yes.
And you say, how can this be? And I have no excuse for that. Is it training? Is it he was having other challenges? Is there more to the story we don't know?
Sure.
Jack, there's too many unknown answers. But for sure, I think that I take the position the majority are trying hard. Are there some that need maybe another profession? Maybe they've been in law enforcement too long. Maybe they've been dealing with the hardcore criminals too much. I think, yeah, there's some that don't belong. The bigger question I think you're posing is one of racial issues. And I think our country, in my opinion, is still maturing. It's still trying to figure out how to homogenize all of these different peoples from different backgrounds, from different cultures, from different religions, and different economic conditions.
I would say that, are you done making your statement?
I'm done.
All right, good. Thank you very much. I would say I would agree with your statement only for 49%. And the 51% that I do not agree with you, respectfully, of course, is that you're talking about the police facing a challenging job. And I'm talking about the whole nation is facing a challenging time. Now, if you're talking
about from law enforcement perspective?
No, I'm talking about societal perspective.
Okay.
Right? Now, I'm talking about if you are taking the number, taking the percentage among average Americans. For example, every 100 average Joes and average Sues, you're talking about 3% being bad. You must apply different rules or schedules or whatever, or kind of any percentage to apply to the policing community.
But
right?
Jack, that's
so
somewhat
if you're
idealistic.
still talking about average, we're talking about 3% of regular people being bad. There must be, it wouldn't surprise me if there are 3% of cops being bad. No, that's not the answer because they are trained professionals. They are trained to be good. They have 101 reason to be good, not even one reason to be bad. Not everybody else in the population get that kind of training, so that's why we give them a slide for like 3%, and then the policing communities, we can't live with 3%. So that is my point, and that is why I say 51% of your statement I can't agree.
Well, Jack, we haven't always agreed on your show.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And this may be a case when we don't agree on a minor point. I think it's just simply unrealistic to expect a person in law enforcement who spends a big part of their day dealing with tough, hardened criminals, and now all of a sudden they see another kid on the street, all of a sudden to say, oh yeah, this is a good kid, I'm going to apply a different kind of policing. I think you're almost expecting too much.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's just my point of view. Now,
yeah, sure.
should we make the penalty harder? on law enforcement that don't do the right thing. Should we have more training? There's a lot of conversation about having cameras on every policeman.
Yes.
There's a lot of examples where cameras have a big impact. Yeah, I think we employ every piece of technology, everything we can do. I think when there's a policeman that, or a member of law enforcement that is over the top, we take them out.
Probably we should
do all those
we should
things.
take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll probably stick ourselves to the camera. Can we please?
We can do that.
All right, good. Hello, dear folks. Welcome back to the show. It is a serious show. It is a serious discussion. Me and my good friend, Mr. Drexel Smith, however strongly we disagree to each other, we are still friends.
Oh,
we shall
absolutely.
remain friends. So we only argue for the benefit of the audiences for the purpose of bringing you infos. That's it. Okay, now, over the Michael Brown shooting death issue, we have done 5 shows already, and this is the 6th one we put on top, trying to do some kind of societal analysis to diagnose what's been wrong. So joining me, Mr. Drexel Smith has made so far a statement that I said I disagree 51%. Right, I agreed 49%. I'm joking, maybe half or whatever. Right, now we're close to each other. Now, speaking of that thing, you're talking about an officer having lived a long day. At the end of the day, he sees something suspicious. He jumps on it, like a guy surfing for a whole day, and all of a sudden he touched the ground, the solid ground. He walks like flying. All right. When you drive on the freeway, especially going to Las Vegas, after freeway driving almost 100 miles, all of a sudden, well, you always go over speed because you've been driving too fast. Right? Now to that philosophy, I can say, how about Jack Chow having spent a long day and handled tons of paperwork? At the end of the day, I got an excuse to yell at anybody. No, that doesn't constitute any background or any excuse to be bad to people. Do you agree with me at that part?
Oh, I absolutely agree.
All right, good. So go ahead, please. How about camera? Yeah, you're talking about camera. And the camera brings a big issue, big rebounds from the society. And the other day, I was having lunch with a friend of mine, and he's also the show friend. And he says, whoever opposes the camera idea are bad guys.
Well,
because they are afraid of being taken shot at. Because the whole purpose is to protect both. Right. What's your take on that?
oh, I'm not sure that I would go so far as to say they're bad because they disagree with the camera. My attitude is the camera should be mandatory. In today's environment,
All right.
we are debating the officer's behavior in the Brown case in Ferguson, Missouri, because we have no facts. There are some suggest that the young man Brown became aggressive with the officer. I have no facts. I have no knowledge. We know only what's been printed or talked about in the press.
Sure.
I think the counter argument is, even if the young man Brown became aggressive, does that justify 6 bullet shots?
All right.
I mean, that's a bit
If
aggressive.
the young man, Michael Brown, had been aggressive, can we show some wounds from the officer?
Well,
on the officer's body, or any evidence?
yeah,
hardcore.
I think we need to wait for the grand jury to bring forth its evidence. I am completely agreeing with you.
There is not going to be grand jury. You trust me, all right? Things will cool down as time goes by. You want to bet $100 on this with me? Within 2 years, nobody even recall.
No, I think this one has got too much energy behind it.
Let me give you an example, example case. In Arkansas, at a small town, I forget his name. In 2012, a guy was handcuffed from behind, right? And he was announced a victim of suicide. He suicided. He committed suicide. He killed himself with his own gun carried or concealed somewhere in his own, tucked under his shirt or whatever. Okay, so that brings a huge argument. How come a guy handcuffed from the back would produce a gun to shoot himself, either here or anyway, and still go back? He was able to go back to have himself handcuffed again in the back after committing a suicide, which is almost a challenge to human IQ. Do you think so?
Oh, I think his name is Houdini.
Houdini? No. His name is Travis Carter.
Yeah. No, I'm being facetious.
I know. Travis Carter. Now, if you start searching on the internet, Google the same name, and Google by committing suicide while being handcuffed. This is what I did. I got it. I still got the very page, the same page, the exact same page of 2012. In other words, there's no follow-ups. Nothing has been going on. And what the ending of the news says, subject to pending investigation, subject to finding per pending investigation, subject to future whatever jury decision, right? The court decision, so on and so forth. And then the things kind of, dismissed or vanish in thin air. That's what's happening. So
Jack,
that's why I'm betting you $100.
Are you suggesting that I support?
No. I'm not saying that. No.
I think I freely acknowledged there is a percentage, and I don't want to debate whether it's 1, 3, or 5,
All right, good,
or
good.
10. There is a percentage of people in law enforcement that might not even belong. They're too aggressive. They're not trained. They're emotionally unstable, or whatever the case. There, I'm sure, is some percentage. I want to suggest to you that by and large, throughout the country, the thousands of arrests that are made daily are probably done appropriately, legitimately, by people just simply trying to do their job.
All right.
Now the focus is, what do you do about the percentage that's not appropriate?
All right, good,
Okay?
good.
I suggest to you, training is a question. Not every small agency does the requisite training.
All right.
I support the idea of cameras. I think that that is a way that after the incident, we have facts. There is evidence of law enforcement agencies that implement the camera, where the number of complaints dramatically are reduced.
Exactly.
I suggest all of those mitigating factors, and when it becomes where we have a member of our law enforcement agency that is too aggressive, they be removed. They shouldn't stay. But is it going to eliminate the problem? No.
Let me explain to you why I and many of my own folks, or many of my fellow Americans getting excited. It is because the bottom line is broken. Okay, if you are talking about on a general basis, the good guys versus the bad guys, and going back and forth within the range forever, ever since the founding of this great nation, it's been like that. There has been bad guys, there has been good guys, and good guys always conquers bad guys and goes back and forth, on and on.
We hope so.
In history, there are dark time were overcome. There was a Ku Klux Klan that were overcame. There was kind of a dark period or whatever, laws are made and things are going on, and that we can take as a fact. Sometime when you go to break the bottom line, The moment you break the bottom line, you just fire a signal, warning signal. All right. For the cops, for the police department, hold the police department to declare that person committed suicide while being handcuffed is a challenge to American wisdom. Not super wisdom, or not Einstein wisdom. I'm talking about any IQ above 50. That kind of wisdom. All right. So let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we'll talk about more. So stay with us. Hello, my dear folks. Welcome back to the show. During the break, my friend Drexel says, well, you're what? You're passionate. Of course I'm passionate. I'm not only passionate, I'm excited. Why I'm excited? I hate to be killed. I hate to see anybody killed. So even the bad guys, when we want to kill him, we have to go through the due process of law. Am I right?
Absolutely. That's what a country of law is about.
Of course. Now, yeah, sure. Go
I
ahead.
think, Jack, let's touch just a second on your opening remark about the societal change. And where you and I may enjoy more common ground in this discussion is the apparent militarization of so much of our police.
Yeah, right word.
And I have a problem with that. There is a major difference between the military that protects our country.
Finally. I got somebody who can talk.
And law enforcement within the community. The idea of our law enforcement agencies now becoming more militaristic, I think, is one of caution.
They're not only militaristic, they are militant.
And I think, well, in some, Jack, there are some cases we agree.
They're a militant.
There are some cases we agree. But I think there's other challenges that it's easy to say that the chief of police in Ferguson did the wrong thing, but yet put yourself in his position. The majority of the people that were demonstrating and looting and creating havoc in Ferguson weren't people of that community. They were people bussed in by other folks that were stimulating the problem, as with many of the major conflicts that we've had. So the challenges are tough.
Okay.
And if you're a law enforcement person and your job is to keep
the looting,
the peace.
Lots of people make a point by putting stress on the looting. But nobody can tell me what is looting related with the Michael Brown's death. Who died first? What happened first? Michael Brown died first, or the looting started first, right? So you don't want to talk about it in a reverse way, because we're here. There many hundreds and millions of years ago was a big bang. So we're the result of the Big Bang. We're not the cause of the Big Bang, right? Am I right? So lots of people putting so much efforts on the looting, on the rioting of the society of the small town, though. I don't think they are logic. They're logical. I don't think so.
Jack,
What's your comment about that?
We part company on this topic as well. I argue with you, there are many societies in the world that don't behave that way. I mean, New Orleans was almost completely destroyed with a hurricane, not because necessarily of the storm, but because after the storm, people's behavior.
All right.
Not every society operates that way. Okay?
All right.
In many countries.
That could be a lack of education.
It could be a lack of social structure. It could be
you're right.
people that get some benefit. I'm saying to you, law enforcement today is faced with some significant challenges. I personally do not agree with the militarization of our law enforcement.
Of course.
Many of my friends in law enforcement say we must arm ourselves against the bad guys who have more armament than we do. I think we have, as you opened with, a societal growing issue where more and more people are feeling underserved, and the answer is not to militarize our law enforcement. We need some different kinds of solutions here. And I think that that is a growing concern we as a society
On
need to
this issue, I go
together on.
100% supporting you. Because the militarization is just away 100 degrees away from the purpose of putting up the law enforcement department. If you go back to history, or anybody knows a little bit about history, this comes from the old time of a vigilante law system, right? People become to stand first, they stand their own castle, their own ground, to protect their own ground. Not enough, and then they form a group, right? And the group names somebody, it's like a sheriff. The sheriff starts to select his deputies. And then this group is called the law enforcement group. Later, when we further develop, we make it into a PD called police department. But it is not a military. Do not militarize it. They want a tank, they want an armor, they want a drone, they want to do, next thing they will be asking is a missile. They can start, boom. They can do that. They can do that, right? So I don't think they are doing the right thing. Let me tell you a joke. The joke says, suppose one president of the United States tried to see who does a better job protecting the country, either FBI or CIA or PDs, right? Now, first, and the president calls the FBI boss, says, okay, see the forest over there, little forest over there? And there's a big bear, a polar bear went in, which creates a huge danger to our country. Go find it, go resolve it, go take care of it. Guy says, yes. 3 days later, he came back, say, hey, Mr. President, here's my report. For 3 days in a row, we utilized all kinds of technology that is available currently. We applied all equipment that's available to human race, and we mobilized all the top gun guys of the human race, putting together. We checked almost every tree, almost every leaf of a tree. We did not even find a hair of a bear. Not even a DNA of bear is found. So the conclusion, there is no bear at all. Our country is safe. All right, job done. Go take a 1 month vacation or something like that. And then there comes the CIA boss. Says same thing, same job, same mission. And there goes in, within 10 minutes, there goes a huge fire. The whole forest starts burning. And the fire burned for three days. End of the third day, guy came over and said, Mr. President, well, suit and tie, clean hair, shiny shoes, something like that. Mr. President, job done, right? Now that the forest does not even exist, so danger or not danger, we're okay. All right, well done, go. So he went away. Then there came the PD, the boss of KDPD. Same job, same briefing of the situation, and the guy went in, not 3 days, for 7 days. For 7 days he came out, kind of with a broken face and with wounds, a bloody nose or things like that. And several following him, very sadly, reporting to my president, sir, I've lost 7 of our brothers, right? So we were looking for bears, burned bears, almost everywhere. We didn't find any. We find a burned rabbit. Would that do? All right, job done. So it tells you different groups, different organizations do different jobs. You just a PD, right? You just a PD. PD do the PD job. You want a helicopter? Want 2 missiles? Doing that? No. That's incorrect. Do you think so? Do you think I made a point?
Yes, you do. And we agree.
Well, anyway,
We agree on
I'm
the
not
point.
inviting you here for me to make a point. I did the contrary.
But,
All right.
but Jack, we agree that these different agencies have different roles, they have different missions. And I believe, I'm really firm, the militarization of our social law enforcement agencies is not productive.
All right, very
It's
good.
not the right direction.
Sure. Let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll find out the militarization of our policing department. Where is it in the U.S.? So stay with us. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow. On the sixth discussion regarding or in the week or after the week or in the week of the Michael Brown shooting death case. Joining me is my good friend, Mr. Drexel Smith. We're talking about the fact our policing department, or policing communities, law enforcement department, whatever you may call them, if you may, are just militarizing themselves. So is this the right way to go or wrong way to go? At the conclusion of our last segment, we know it is the wrong way to go. Where's the heading? Do you think is heading to the direction that they bring the law enforcement and the community together on an even closer basis, or they kind of make a division between the two, kind of in a standby cases?
Jack, you've frequently asked me to be on your show, and you generally give me a very tough problem to respond to.
Because you're tougher. You're tougher than the problem. That's why I bring a tough problem to you.
I say to you, let's get back to the very fundamentals of what we're talking about. You and I believe, agree, especially with your bear story. And I think that had you brought Drexel Smith in as a consultant, I would have found a beautiful female polar bear to go get that big male bear and forgot the military
You're
altogether.
getting funny, all right?
You see,
Sure. All right.
there's another solution.
You're raising a point.
In the
Yeah,
mix.
I see that. You're raising a point.
Okay.
They start a family, they bring children, they create children there,
And then-
make a peaceful living. No
Absolutely.
more risks to the country, right?
And everybody
Problem
lives
resolved.
happily ever after.
All right.
Or at least the big male bear becomes so infatuated with the female bear that we can get both of them and put them in the zoo.
Yeah,
but
right.
my point to you is,
You are wonderful. All right, good.
for any given problem, there is a different solution set.
You're right. You're right.
Am I concerned in our country that, and I'm going to use the phrase a second time today, of homogenation?
All right.
As we bring in more and more people from different backgrounds, cultures, and religions, we have a major challenge of how to all work together as a group. We clearly in this country have a growing member of our society, especially the African Americans, that feel disenfranchised. They feel that way. And look at the major inner cities. Look at the numbers of African American men that have been incarcerated, rightfully or wrongfully. My point to you is, I think that whatever solutions we're employing the wrong ones. And I happen to be of the opinion to move our society to allow the police department to militarize themselves is not the right direction for law and order. I think we're now witnessing a mistake where the federal government simply said to law enforcement, hey, we have a bunch of excess military equipment you can have for free.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
All right, okay.
I think that that was simply a mistake. We have communities that have acquired a tank, as you indicated, or heavy weapons. They have no business in that business. Okay? But on the other hand, I think, and I don't know.
Would you allow me, please, a little insertion?
Yes.
Those weapons are not free. Somebody is still making money, huge money, tons of money.
Well, that's a whole other topic.
Tons of money. No. That's the motivation of the militarization. If you do not see that layer of the onion, you do not even have an onion.
Well,
That is my point. Seriously,
yeah,
my friend.
I understand.
See the size of my eyes?
Yeah.
Yo, every time when I talk about money, and my eyes go like
Yeah.
that, pop up. Right?
I know.
I see things clear. Go ahead.
And you even become a more handsome man.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Thank you.
The point I was trying to draw is we need to bring together, as you open that door, experts in law enforcement, the experts in community leadership, and I think we need the community leadership. And in every community, the law says it's lay people that are elected that make these decisions. When I was elected to serve on the city council, I had a responsibility to choose our law enforcement. I had a responsibility.
Unfortunately, you are only you, Drexel Smith.
Oh, but
You
Jack,
can't make everybody you.
yeah,
That is the
there are
problem.
many good elected officials.
All right.
There
Okay.
are many good ones.
Go back to the city council. Okay.
My point to you is,
yes.
I also say there are many, many good people in law enforcement and law enforcement leaders. But we have this growing issue in society. We have way too many people that are in a criminal environment. Our prisons are breeding and teaching people how to become criminals. We're doing nothing to educate them, to give them an opportunity when they get out. We're not doing what we need to do.
Even
in
if they
educating
are
our future
incarcerated,
workforce.
even if they are incarcerated, we have to release them because our jails are overcrowded.
Well,
So you are mixing people, good people, bad people, and convicted bad people
That's right.
together in a society to let the law enforcement to take care of, to handle, right? Law enforcement, like you say, every single one, they had a long day, and at the end of the day, they lose the patience, they started to act ugly. And then problem is, we have our problem. We, the taxpayers, they call us boss. The Constitution calls us we the people.
yes.
That's how we are named, the people, right? We the people pay our tax money to hire those guys to take care of those. Is their failure not doing a good job and not the taxpayers? Do you think so?
Oh, of course.
All right.
And
Suppose if this guy doesn't have a mindset already made, let this guy go to hell. He wouldn't have fired 6 bullets. 1 is enough, 2 is enough, right? On the legs, on the butt, or on the stomach, of course, or on the shoulder, or on the arm, all right?
Jack,
Anything will stop him.
without more evidence, I'm not sure that any shooting is appropriate.
You do not need evidence so far, this moment, to give a speculation. Because everybody is speculating. They are speculating because no evidence, hardcore. We are speculating because of no hardcore evidence. But what we do have, we have the autopsy report that says 6 bullets. The number 6, Chinese way this way, the number 6 that counts, right? If I accidentally shoot you, boom, oh my God, that's 1 bullet. If I say I killed you,
I certainly
misfire.
hope you would feel guilty if you shot me.
Of course. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I just only find a moment to give an insertion. You go ahead. It's your show anyway. Go ahead.
No, this is your show, and I'm honored to be a guest. Again, I'm trying to bring the discussion up a little bit. Again, I do not have enough evidence to even talk about what went on between Mr.
No,
Brown
we're not
and the
talking
law
about the
enforcement
case
man.
itself. Yes.
I would like to say that the man of law enforcement had other means to mitigate the problem. Pepper spray in the face is very debilitating. A taser gun is very debilitating. Those are non-lethal methods that we've brought together. Most of our men and women in law enforcement are taught to physical restraint methods.
Yeah, the other day I checked with an attorney, Paul Chang, at the show. I said, is pepper spray lawful, legalized, legal, or whatever? He says, well, in certain case, of course, and even including the taser guns, right? Okay. But our law enforcement is that either put a gloves on, see there, these, they will F you up. That is what they said prior to action. And then the guy, well, for sure was F'd up, right? So, and the 6 bullets fired at a moment they claim to have felt imminent danger with 1, will 2 do the job. So something is wrong, Drexel.
Yeah, Jack,
Do you think something is wrong in this society? They hate people, and the hate concept is growing. Do you think so?
I freely acknowledge there are some in law enforcement
All right, very good.
that shouldn't be.
That's why they wouldn't form up again LASD themselves, right? So did they not form up again themselves? They did, of course, right?
But Jack, I still suggest to you, let's look at how we mitigate this, because I think
Oh yeah, of course, of course, of course, of course. And to wrap up with the show, we still want to imbue the community with the peace-loving concept, with the positive energies, right? To wrap it up, you want to say a few words, please?
well, I think to wrap it up, we should hold hands and sing.
All right. Hallelujah. Hallelujah,
No,
like that.
my point of view remains very strong. I think the majority of our men and women in law enforcement work hard every day to try to do the right job. Johnny Cochran, the great attorney in Los Angeles, made a statement that the most powerful person in the whole system is the man that can be the policeman, the executioner, judge, and jury, all at the same time, who can kill someone without retribution.
All right.
And
good.
that
All
is a
right.
concept that I think we need technology to bring in to make sure when they take the ultimate step, it's done properly.
I give you one last challenging, very challenging question or assumption. Bring OJ to today. You tell me, is he guilty or not? All right. That wraps up the show with a dangerous question. All right. Thank you very much, my audiences. I thank you very much, Drexel.
Thank you.
And you're a good guy.